Hello and welcome to another yearly past paper video. Today's paper that I'm solving is the IGCSE Mathematics paper 2. This is variant 2-1. Let's begin. I will show you the calculator on and off on my screen. The first question says the diagram shows an isosceles triangle. Find the value of x. You know that an isosceles triangle has two sides equal and two angles equal. What two angles will be equal? This angle will also be the same as this one. So this will be 41. I can then use my calculator to say that 41 plus 41 plus x should equal 180. Then I can take 180 and 41 plus 41 is 82. So I get 98 as the final answer. Okay, we'll keep checking answers as we go. So we get 98. 1 mark is for the method. So you should show me this. And then 1 mark is for the answer. So you should also show me this. Then it says the diagram shows the time in minutes. It takes each of 15 people to complete a race. So this is a stem and leaf diagram. You can see the leaves. I can see the stem as well, and there's a key here. Okay, so 1/6 means represents 16 minutes. Find the mode. So which number is repeated most often? I think this is the number that's repeated most often. What number is this? It has a stem of 2 and a leaf of 7, so 27. The range is the highest value minus the lowest value. The highest value is 31 as I can see it from here, and the lowest value is 16. So 31 minus 16 should give me 15. What is the median? Median is the middle value. So for the middle value, you first have to come up with the median position. You can also start doing it directly and say that it's half of n plus 1 th. How many values am I looking at? I'm looking at 15 different observations. So half of 15 plus 1 th. So that tells me I'm looking for the eighth position. 16 divided by 2 is the eighth. So let's count. That's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So this is the number that I'm looking for. What is this number? I'm going to read it with the stem, and this number should be 25. Since these are all 1 mark questions, there are no marks for methods as such, and you can, sort of do it directly as well without writing down any formulas, and you would still get the marks. Again, some 1 mark questions. When I complete these statements, when x equals to this, x plus 3 equals to 8. So x equals to 8 minus 3, which should be 5. So x should equal 5. 7y equals to 63. So 10y should equal what? So first, I'm going to try to find y. Sorry for that. 63 divided by 7 is 9. 10 times 9 gives me 90. Okay, that's again simple 1 mark questions. I think these are easy questions that you should always get marks on. The table shows some information about Amir's shopping. The oranges cost this, number of kilograms that Amir buys. How do you find the cost of oranges? You say that cost of oranges is 2.35 multiplied by 3.2. So that on our calculator, 2.35 into 3.2. On my calculator, I get 7.52. So I'm going to complete the table and say that this is 7.52. Then I don't have the cost per kilogram. I have the number of kilograms. I don't even have the total cost, but I have the total ultimate total here. So I'm going to say that this number can be calculated by 13.54 minus 7.52. Let's see what that gives us. 6.02. Now, how do I go backwards from here? I know that the cost per kilogram must be multiplied. Let's call that x. So x must be multiplied with 2.8 to give me the total cost, which is 6.02. So x equals to 6.02 divided by 2.8. 2.8. 6.02 divided by 2.8 gives me 2.15. Then the next question says factorize completely. So this is a question on algebra and it says factorize completely. So I'm going to try to factorize. What I see first is what is common. So I see that there are multiples of 7. So 7 must be common and there's m in both. So m must be common as well. If I take a 7 common, you basically divide by 7. So 42 divided by 7, I'm left with 6. M divided by m leaves me with 1, so nothing left there. And k is not common, so k should come up inside. Okay. Then 35 divided by 7 is 5. M came out as common, so I have 7m k 6k minus 5. This is a difference of squares, as you must have studied. It's called difference of squares. Whenever you have two terms that seem like perfect squares, even if they don't seem like perfect squares, you can still factorize. You can say that this will be the square of h and this will be the square of 12. And this can be factorized to h minus 12 and h plus 12. This is a square minus b square factorized to a minus b and a plus b. Okay. Now, since this was a 2-mark question, for example, the marks for both terms being correct. Okay. So make sure that you factorize properly so that you get all the marks. Question number 6 says that for each of 10 people working in an office, the scatter diagram shows their salary and the value of their car. Okay. Um, on one of these people has a salary of 28,000. Okay, where is salary? Salary is here. 28,000 should be somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000. This looks like the value that might be 28,000. What is its corresponding value of the car? I'm going to say that it's about 4,800. Okay, 4,800 is the value of the car. Okay, then going on, it says another person starts to work in the office. Their salary is 54,000 and the value of the car is 6,100. So plot this information on the scatter diagram. So 54,000 is on this line and I go up to 6,100. 6,100 should be somewhere in the middle because one box is like 200 units. So that's where my mark should be. Okay, I plotted it correctly. What type of correlation is shown in the diagram? I can see that it's a positive correlation. The line of best fit if drawn would have gone up, so it's a positive correlation. Moving on to question number 7. The exchange rate between Singapore dollars and euros is 1 Singapore dollars to 0.62 euros. Find the value of 161.20. So we often keep it as ratios first. I'm going to write Singapore and euros. Okay. How many euros am I trying to convert? I'm trying to convert 161.2. So I'm going to write an X here and then cross multiply. Okay. So I get 161.2 equals to 0.62x. If I want to find x, I will divide this by 0.62. What do I get? 161.2 divided by 0.62. 260. Okay, then I must convert this into improper fractions first. So 11 into 7 gives me 77 plus 3 gives me 80 over 11. 10 into 3 gives me 30 plus 3 gives me 33. So that's 33 over 10. I can do this with a calculator, but it's also simple manual calculation. So I'm going to just go through this and say that it's 24. Find the highest common factor of 140 and 126. So you start doing prime factorization of these numbers together rather than separately. You start doing them together. So 2 times 70 and 2 times 63. You only divide by the numbers that are a factor of both the numbers. So I can't further divide by 2. Can I divide by 3? No. 7 seems like the most likely number that I can divide by. 7 times 10 and 7 times 9. There are no other common factors, so your highest common factor is the product of these two numbers, which is 14. Had this been an LCM question, I would have gone on beyond this and got done away with both 10 and 9 at the end. Okay, this is indices. Let's talk about this. N power 5 into n power 9. Powers get added when the terms are being multiplied and the bases are common. So n power 6 is my correct answer. 8x power 6 divided by 2x square. So 2 and 8 can be reduced, and powers get subtracted when the bases are same. So 4x power 4. Okay. Then there are various ways to do this question. Honestly, I would encourage you to do 243 power 2 over 5 separately on the calculator, and y power 20 into power 2 over 5 separately on a calculator. Now I can open up my calculator and tell you that I can do this directly and do this sort of 243 power 2 over 5. Let's execute. It says 9. So I'm going to write 9. Y power 20 into 2 over 5 gives me 5 into 1. 5 into 4 is 20. 9y power 8. 9y power 8. Okay, let's check if that is the correct answer. Yes, that is the correct answer. There was one mark for getting 9 correct and another mark for getting y power 8 correct. The next question is an inequality. Let's start solving that inequality. It says 4 into 2x minus 3, and so I open up this bracket, this becomes 8x minus 12 is greater than or equals to 43 plus 3x. So I get 5x, 43 plus 12, that gives me 5x is greater than or equals to 55. X is therefore greater than or equals to 55 divided by 5, so x is greater than or equals to 11. Right, point 4. Okay, moving on to question number 12, it says 0.42 and there's a dot above. I usually write a dash for a recurring decimal. And let's see how to solve recurring decimal. This is surprisingly a 3-mark question, so we'll have to do it carefully. And the first step to doing recurring decimals is always to move the decimal place to such a point where the recurring decimal is the first decimal number that you want to start with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both numerator and denominator by 10 so that I get 4.2 and I get a recurring decimal starting, and then I have a divide by 10 in the denominator. Can I go on and suggest that you can then break this up, because 4 is not part of the recurring decimal, it's separate. So I've separated 4 and 0.2 as 4 plus 0.2 with a recurring decimal. Now, based on your idea of taking a common denominator, you can further separate this and say that this is 4 over 10 plus 0.2 divided by 10. 0.2 has a recurring decimal on it. Remember that recurring decimals are always whatever the recurring decimal is divided by 9. So for example, if this is 2, so this should be 2 divided by 9. Had this been, let's say, 0.23, let's say, it would have been 23 divided by 99, and so on. Whatever the recurring decimals are, that's how they function. So I can simply go on and say that this should then become 4 over 10 plus 2 over 9 divided by 10. 4 over 10 plus 2 over 9 multiplied by 1 over 10. So 4 over 10 plus 2 over 90. Take a common denominator since you have to show all steps. This gets multiplied with 9. So I get 36 plus 2. So that's 38 over 90. You have to bring it to the lowest form. So 19 over 45. So 19 divided by 45 should be your final answer. Slightly tricky question with more marks. Remember that since it says you must show all your working, you must show all your working. Question number 13. At the end of 2021, there was there were 27,000 rhinos living in the wild. The number of rhinos is expected to decrease exponentially by 3% each year. Okay, so this is a question on decrease, and it's decreasing exponentially, which means that there's compounding happening. Work out the number of rhinos expected to be in the living wild 4 years later at the end of 2025. Let's try to solve this. Okay, so whenever you have the decreases exponential, you go to the compound interest formula, sort of there, where you say that amount at end is equals to principal, which is the starting value, which is 1 plus r power t if it's an annual decrease. Okay, So I want to find the amount at the end. There are 27,000 rhinos right now. I want to decrease by 3%. So I'm going to say minus 3% power 4. And I'm going to use my calculator to do that. And I get 23902.9. So the closest number that I have is 23903 is the nearest whole number. Next question, question number 14. I see a Venn diagram. The Venn diagram shows the number of elements in sets A, B, and the universal set. The universal set has 52. I want to find the intersection, which is x plus 5. I know that when I add up all of them, I should get 52. Okay, so I get 6x, 5x, 20, 32, so equals to 52 minus 32. 5x equals to 20 and x equals to 4. So what is in the middle? 4 plus 5, which is 9. Okay. In this diagram, shade the region C intersection D intersection E, where all three are intersecting. I think that's relatively simple. There is a central area that you see. So that's C intersection D intersection E. I hope that shows on my screen as well. Yes, it is showing on my screen as well. Okay, moving on to the next question, which is linear inequalities with shading. So by shading the unwanted regions of the grid, draw and label the region R which satisfies the inequality. So remember that once you've drawn the lines, you have to shade the unwanted regions. So y is greater than 1. So first I'm going to draw the line y equals to 1. A line y equals to 1 is a horizontal line at 1. You must have studied special lines. Horizontal lines always have the equation y equals to something. So what region do I want? I want the region greater than 1. So I'm going to shade the unwanted region that is less than 1. So all of this gets shaded. Okay. Then I draw the line x equals to 2. And what region do I want? X equals to 2 is a vertical line. I want the region before less than or equals to 2. So I'm going to shade the unwanted region again. I don't want this region, so I shaded it again. Okay, and that is usually how you should shade normally as well. Y is equals to x plus 2, so I'm going to have to draw this line. I see a y-intercept of 2, so one of the points that I want to plot is y equals to 2. Can I find out another point? I can say that I want to find out the x-intercept as well, so x equals to minus 2. I'm going to plot that as well. I'm going to draw a line through all of this. This line has to stretch downwards as well. So to do that, approximately the correct line. What region do I want? I want the region that is above this line. So I want to shade the region that is below this line because that's the unwanted region. So having shaded all of that, that is the required region R that remains unshaded. So I'm going to label a capital R here and say that this is the region R that's unshaded. 5 marks for this, lots of marks. Make sure that you shade properly. P equals to 2W plus 2H. Find the lower bound and upper bound for P. Okay. Okay, so I have W as 11 correct to two significant figures. So two significant figures are here present in front of me, which means that the third thing after 11 was probably rounded off. So it probably was 11.2 or 11.3 or something like that. That rounded off and became 11. So 11 will have a lower bound of 10.5 and an upper bound of 11.5. Similarly, 9.5 was rounded off correct to two significant figures, which means that there was probably a decimal place here that got rounded off. What could have been the upper bound and lower bound of 9.5? Therefore, it could have been lower bound could have been 9.45 and upper bound could have been 9.55. Okay, then if I want to calculate the upper bound of P, so I'm going to take both upper bounds and say that P is 2 times 11.5 plus 2 times 9.55. Let's see if we get the correct answer. 2 times 11.5 plus 2 times 9.55. Upper bounds are easier to imagine than lower bounds, so make sure that you do those properly. I get 42.1, and then for the lower bound, I get 2 times 10.5 plus 2 times 9.45. 39.9. That is my correct answer. Moving on to question number 17. This is a question on circle properties, angle properties of circles. Basically, A, B, C, D, and E are on the circumference of a circle. Tangents D, E touch the circle at C. Angle BC is A, E is that, and angle ACO is that. Find the value of X. Okay, there are two ways of doing this question. This is a tangent, so this should be 90 degrees. Let's see how many marks X is for. It's 3 marks, so it's probably going to take me a bit of time to solve. 90 minus 53 gives me 37. So this angle should be 37. Okay, this angle should also be 37 then. And that gives me this angle, which is 180 minus 37. Okay, let's see 180 minus 37. That gives me 143. Okay, okay, not 143 minus another 37. It was basically 180 minus 37 minus 37. That should give me 106. Now this angle is always double of this angle. So 106 divided by 2 should give me 53. Now one of the circle properties tells you that when you have something like this that is joined with the center and all other points at the circumference, okay, it's not a cyclic quadrilateral right now because the fourth point should also have been on the circumference. But in this case, this and this angle add up to this. So 20 plus x should add up to 53. X should therefore equal 33. Okay, that is only when you have both other points of the circumference. Don't do it otherwise you get a wrong answer. There are other ways to do this question as well. You could have found this angle and then said that this is a four-sided shape, so all four angles add up to 360 degrees. Moving on to question number 18. I have an angle, I have the side, I have an angle, and I have a side. So I have pairs of sides and angles. So I'm going to use the sine rule here and say that sine y over 8.3 equals to sine 105 over 16.2. Sine y equals to 8.3 times sine 105 over 16.2, and then y should equal sine inverse of the entire thing. I'm going to put this on my calculator as it is. Why? Because I don't want any rounding off, and I'll say that my most precise answer will be from a calculator. So let's try and do that. Okay, so I have sine inverse of 8.3 into sine 105. My calculator is in degrees. If you are an ad math student, you might also have it in radians. Okay, divided by 16. Put a bracket here. See if we get the correct answer. I am getting it's 16.2. Oh my bad. 16.2. So I am getting y equals to 29.66. Answers in degrees have to be given correct to one decimal place. So 29.7 is my final answer. Question number 19, it says sketch the graph of y equals to cos x. I think this is relatively simple. Even if you don't know, your calculator can also tell you the values that you must plot. Since it's a simple graph, I'm just going to show you quickly on the calculator. What you do is you go to home and you go to your table function. Okay, table. Okay, and you go on and specify in tools. You want to define f of x. I'm going to define f of x. It's simply cos of x. Where is x on my calculator? It's right here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go into tools again. Okay, let's press OK. Then go into tools again. I want to define a range. I want to start at 0. I want to end at 360. And by default, the step is always 90. Okay. For any trigonometric function, you Put a step of 90 and you execute. You have your function on 0, you have to plot 1. So you start from here, then you plot a 90 and you go down to 0, then you plot a 180, you go down to -1. Okay, I should split this equally because I'm really far away. I should do this with a ruler probably, but I am a little reluctant to use the ruler right now, although I have it on the screen. Let's just use it. Okay. But 8 units, I marked at 4, I marked at 2, and I marked at 6. Okay, so that's, I'm going to get done with the ruler and say that this is 90, this is 270. So 90, 0, 180 minus 1, 270 is this, and 360 is again 1. So my curve is going to look something like this. Since it's on the screen, it's not a lot of friction on the screen. So my hand tends to shake, but I'm going to try to draw it as accurately as possible. Okay, something like that. Okay, on the exam, try to be more precise with the points. I'm a little away from the points, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, then it says when cos x equals to 0.21, find the reflex angle x. So again, you do cos inverse of 0.21, but you end up getting what? You end up getting 77.9 on your calculator. Now that's not a reflex angle. What do you do for reflex angles? You subtract from 360. You say that 360 minus 77.9 should give me the correct answer, and that is 282.1. Okay. Okay, moving on to question number 20 then. It says write as a single fraction in its simplest form. Both numerator and denominator can be factorized. What do I see common in the numerator? It's 10x, so I'm left with x minus 6. The denominator is a three-term quadratic, so I'm going to do a bit of breaking the middle term. 30 has to be broken down. Factors of 30 that I can think about are 6 and 5. So I'm going to break up the middle term into minus 6 and plus 5. So what is common in the first two? X. So x minus 6. What is common in the next two? X. So 5x minus 6. So I get x plus 5 and x minus 6. So I have x plus 5 and x minus 6. Cancel these common brackets and you have 10 over x plus 5 as your final answer. Okay. Okay, so question number 21 is a question in 3 dimensions. It says the diagram shows a cuboid ABCDEFG. Calculate the angles diagonal BH makes with the face ADA3. Now, an angle diagonal making a face, I'm not asking you for this angle. I am not asking you for just this perpendicular side. I am asking you for the angle that it makes with the face. So what I'm basically talking about is a three-dimensional thing going like that. Okay, you will have to imagine this because it's difficult to draw three-dimension diagrams on the screen. Okay, what we know from here is that this is going to be a slant triangle that's sort of sloped forward like that, not in a perpendicular plane. It's in three-dimensional plane. So therefore, you will have to be a little careful about that. What I will need is this side. I will need this side. I won't probably need this side, and I already have this side. And what this is going to create is a right angle in 3 dimension. Okay, so how do I calculate AH first? I am going to say that AH squared equals to 4.5 squared plus 9.2 squared. So AH is going to be root of 4.5 squared plus 9.2 squared. Now, since this is in 3D, I'm going to say that and it's a right angle triangles, I can say that tan theta is going to be 15.1 divided by AH. What's AH? It's tan theta equals to 15.1 divided by root of 4.5 squared plus 9.2 squared. Let's see if we get the correct answer. I am getting 8. No, I forgot to put out the root, the denominator. Let's see. I am getting 55.9. Let's check if that is the correct answer. I think that is the correct answer. Yes, that is the correct answer. So a challenging question at the end. Make sure that you do this carefully. It's 4 marks. Then this says the ABCD is a rhombus with side length 13.6. Angle ABC is 41. BAC is a sector. So I am seeing sectors here now. BAC. Okay, that's a sector with center B. Okay, it creates also a triangle. Calculate the shaded area. So there are two different sectors. Since it's a rhombus, this angle must also be 41 and all sides must also be 13.6. So what I'm going to do is, in order to find this shaded area, I am going to split this up and see that if I can draw standard shapes, triangles and sectors. Okay. So I know that I'm going to need the entire area of the rhombus. So let's do area of rhombus. And you can do that simply by saying that it's just two triangles. So 2 into half into A into B into sine of C. Okay. So let's put that out and keep that as one thing that we have calculated. I am going to get partial marks for doing calculations correctly. Sorry for that. Okay. Then I need to subtract these two empty shaded areas, empty areas. Okay, so what's the empty area? I can say that it's half of the empty area. So area of sector DAC minus area of. So in case you weren't able to see the shaded area before, I shaded it now. So I'm going to say that the empty area, it's half of the empty area that I'm calculating. It's area of sector DAC minus area of triangle DAC. And then I'm going to multiply that by 2 and subtract it from the entire rhombus to get the shaded area. I'm going to say that area of sector is half theta over 360 into pi and r square minus half a b into sine of c. Okay, so I can say 41 divided by 360 multiplied by 3.142 multiplied by 13.6 squared. So I get 66.186. 121.345 divided by 2 would have given me 60.673. Okay, so 66.186 minus 60.673 gives me 5.513. So that's the empty, half of the empty area. So I'm going to say that the shaded area is basically area of rhombus 121.345 minus 2 times 5.513 into 2, 121.345. I'm getting 110.319 rounded off to three significant figures will give me 110. I hope that's the correct answer. Yes, that is indeed the correct answer. That brings us to the end of the exam. Make sure to like and subscribe if you were following this video, and I will be back with more past paper questions. Thank you for watching.